Hello, Mr. Klaus.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. How are things in Holland?
Uh, it's pretty all right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're surviving.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So, Klaus and I, we met basically over the YouTube channel. He was checking out some of my vids, and in particular, you really liked the one I did about what I called self-transforming machine elves.
Yeah. Because I was kind of Googling about that stuff because I also had that experience,
Yeah.
and it's really crazy when you have it. So I
Yeah.
wanted to just get all kind of information about it.
Yeah, man. And
And I really liked your perspective that you were
yeah.
kind of more realistic. That okay, there are these machine elves, but what about real life? Also, I think that's a very important point.
Right. Yeah. And actually, you might be interested to know, and other people might too, but that was by far my most viewed video.
Yeah,
Yeah, by far, like 10, 15 times as much as the other one. So it just shows that there's a real interest in that topic with people.
mm.
And I liked what you said too, and I was kind of surprised you had that sort of that's what interested you about it, but this idea that like okay, like yeah, I think we and you and I can both acknowledge what we are calling like self-transforming machine elves. I like that word, so it's fine. Yes, this is a real thing. Like I acknowledge it. I agree with that. It is a fucking real thing, and it is like an important component of reality. But it's like we could spend all day trying to like dissect what these little tiny machine elves are or what little ideas are they possibly having, but it's kind of like how is that serving you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I know you know quite a lot about it though. Like what is your sort of opinion on even just the term self-transforming machine elves? Like, do you like that term?
I've never really seen them as machines, but I think it is correct. Like
Mm,
I understand it when I see them. That okay,
right.
these are the elves.
Right.
But this is actually an idea in Norse mythology, for example, the
Mm-hmm.
light elves,
Mm-hmm.
because there are like 9 different realms
Mm-hmm.
of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Jewish Kabbalah, it's 10, so very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one realm which is Alfheim, which is the realm of the light elves.
Right. Oh,
And
really?
I think these are actually the things.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
and you have to see. I don't know about you. You
Mm.
have maybe only met these entities.
So what about this realm? What is this realm called again?
It's like Alfheim, like the elf land.
Really? So this is just one realm. So
Yes. There's
perhaps.
also
Mm,
Svart Alfheim, which is the realm of the black elves,
I
and
see.
these are actually dwarves. I think
Mm,
they are the same thing as dwarves. So
mm,
you can see where all of this comes from. It's the sort of German myth
mm-hmm,
with the elves and dwarves,
mm,
and everything.
mm.
And
Well,
they sort of are actually real things,
mm-hmm.
but they are not like Lord of the Rings
No.
elves.
They're
They
like,
are really different, but you can
yeah.
kind of
Oh,
see where it comes from, right?
right. Yeah, they are a real thing. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
not what you saw in the movie The Lord of the Rings. It's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What else is what other characteristics does this elf realm have in Norse mythology?
It is one of the realms that is closest to the realms of the gods, the Aesir.
Really?
Uh, so there are it's the Vanir realm and the Elf realm, which is are they the closest to the gods.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
Hmm. And what is their relationship with the gods? Do you know?
Mm, not really. Like they are certainly distinct, but
Mm.
at least the light elves, which I think are the machine elves, are
Mm-hmm.
at least described as sort
Mm-hmm.
of like they are good. They are
Mm. Mm-hmm.
sort of
That's a good point.
life affirming,
Mm.
which they are. Also, when you meet them.
They do seem to be helping, don't they?
Yes, they are like super optimistic,
Yeah.
basically. Like
Yeah,
they
they're kind
really,
of like dancing. They're like, and
yes,
this,
yes,
and I
yes,
like this, and do you
yeah,
like this? And like,
yeah,
so they are. They're kind of like love in a way, but they are optimistic.
yeah.
So
It's very interesting.
mm,
Jung also
oh,
wrote about this. Carl
really?
Jung.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about the Kabiri,
Mm,
and he described this as like little helpers, like little gnomes or elves that sort of help
really?
you, motivate you, stuff like that. So
Really?
he also came across this.
Really? So
Yeah,
he into psychedelics?
I don't think he ever took psychedelics, but he has this book.
Mm,
It was unpublished, but it's available now. It's called the Red Book,
mm-hmm.
Liber Novus.
Mm,
You should really look at it. Just the pictures. You will see that he knew all of this.
okay.
Like he knew everything. He was like really aware of this realm.
How did he get in? How did he become aware of it then?
I don't know, but this is not unique
Okay.
to the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand this.
Oh,
Like
oh, I
you can access these realms without drugs,
right. Huh,
and
really, and
they
even to the actually the elves. So you can access these realms of the elves, right, without psychedelic drugs.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, exactly.
It is difficult for sure.
Oh yeah, it's easier with
Yeah,
drugs.
but you can do it. And
Yeah,
you look at the Hindus, the Tibetan monks. They have been doing this for thousands of years,
right,
and
right,
they don't use anything. So
right, right. And
yeah.
so, right, so young, and he was really into psychology, right? Is that right?
Yes, he's sort of the big name after Freud.
Hmm.
And I think it's very unfortunate that Freud was the sort of big
Yeah,
name instead
yeah.
of Jung, because Jung
Mm-hmm.
was really he was sort of a mystic.
Mm.
He really knew all of this stuff.
And yeah, and Freud, he really was kind of obsessed with pinning everything down to little tiny disorders and
Yeah, he was I think too mechanical
yeah,
and too
and
focused on like sex and
yeah,
stuff.
sex,
It's really
which
not.
we know that like love and sex and relationship and sharing, these are important components of life and reality for sure. But I agree. I think that he did get drawn too much into these little tiny like mechanistic approaches of like this is your disorder and it's connected because your
Yeah,
mom
yeah, yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
And I mean modern psychology and psychiatry as well is just a joke. They
Oh,
don't
they're
know
up.
anything.
They're the sales force of the pharmaceutical industry, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, they've been completely co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry. Even the university system, I believe, is tied up with that now.
Yeah, like we see so much business sort of creeping into everything where it doesn't belong, and
Yep, yep,
these things like the university has kind of been kind of compromised, I think.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I think again is interesting with the plant medicine, with psychedelics in general, or even just as you say, like ancient practices which can uncover these realms, because I think that people now are seeing that a lot of these pathways are kind of shallow to a degree. The psychology industry, the pharmaceuticals and
Yes,
stuff,
yes, yes.
a lot of them are I should just say, I'm not saying that they cannot help anyone. Of course they can, under the right
Mm,
circumstances. They can provide a service, but I think a lot of people are coming to this conclusion where they're seeing, hey, this is kind of limited, you know?
yeah, the younger generations for sure
Mm-hmm.
are really waking up to this, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's just a question of like materialism. I think we have been
Yeah.
so materialistic.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
it's not the correct approach, and people are really realizing it. People want authenticity, they want depth, they want the sort of real things, they want to go back to the sort of old ways.
Because that's where all the real satisfaction, and that's what our species has been doing for thousands and thousands of years, is these kind of like fundamental connections, understanding our place in the universe and understanding our connection with the earth, with fucking spiritual realms, with each other, because that's what's real. It's funny because in our society we act like that's not real.
And the old cultures, they used to have, contact with these other realms, with the machine elves, for example. Like they knew this, and it's very important to have this contact. It's, I mean, it's crazy that we have lost this.
It's fucking nuts.
It's insane.
We're like driving a bus down the road with fucking blindfold on. We have no connection with our own ancestry, our own spiritual like grounding to the earth, and it really is crazy. And
people don't know their ancestry when they don't know where they come from. They don't know where their food comes from, where do your clothes come from. It's not magic. It has to come from somewhere.
It's like, like, hey, there's something to the fact that your sweater traveled from the other side of the world, and some guy built that under very unhealthy conditions, and the refuse from that factory was dumped right into the ocean, right into a river, and it was shipped across the fucking planet in some giant container ship, and then it was shoved into a mall somewhere in the middle of town while some bright lights were shining down on a couple employees who were forcing you to buy more. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just this list of things that are all kind of, nothing's connected.
No, it's just insane.
Yeah. Well, but on a lighter note, of course, like, people are beginning, I think, to understand. I should actually say they are connected. Those things are connected. They're just not connected in a healthy, productive way that it might have been if your neighbor was raising sheep and then shearing it and creating cotton for you, whatever, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's cool, man. So do you want to talk a little bit about kind of because I know, man, you are very well knowledgeable about the actual different like spiritual realms, and like that they are kind of defined to a degree.
Yes, so there clearly are many different realms. There are like many different types of consciousness you can be in.
And what are we in? We are currently...
We can discuss, like, do you actually go somewhere else externally, or is it just a mode of consciousness? But I don't think it matters. I think it's the same.
Right.
Like everything that is external is also internal, and vice versa. So it matters.
Because you are kind of like creating your own vibration, and then that vibration kind of allows you to tap into different forms of reality.
It's like radio waves, you know. You have different frequencies for different channels, right? This is the same. You change the frequency of your body, you go somewhere else. Because it's very simple.
Yeah, and you start to notice different things too. It's like if you're constantly focused on like, I'm going to see a red truck, your brain is going to start to focus on that. And I think it's kind of similar. Your like consciousness starts to be aware and focus of, oh, maybe there is more to reality. Maybe there are other beings, there are other realms. And that's where I think we can start to tap into some of these things.
Yeah, and I mean, psychedelics are probably the like most obvious experience of this. I think that's how most people really get this big revelation. But you can also do it via meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, so on.
Yeah, and it's important too because like, what are we getting sometimes out of our base level consciousness? Like you're often very narrowly focused on things that are not even serving you or anyone, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have like a lot of conditioning from our evolutionary past, and also our society, right? There are a lot of things that are socially constructed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we should not think that it's real, but it's really not.
That's right, man. It's very like it's not a very thick reality. It's not very real.
Yeah, people usually talk about hyper normality,
Oh
that we
yeah.
sort of live in a hyper normal world right now.
Interesting.
There's a really good documentary by Adam Curtis from BBC. It's called Hypernormalization.
Uh-huh.
Super good, about Trump and the Syrian war and everything, and the sort
Right.
of disinformation
Yeah.
campaigns
Yeah.
and this.
Because
It's really good.
it's so normal that
Yeah.
we're at war all the time.
Mm.
It's fucking normal. It's
Yeah.
so normal that we're at war in the Middle East. As far as anyone's concerned, that could just carry on and no one would even notice.
Yeah.
And like you're just constantly bombarded by like just ridiculous fucking products and messages that you don't need. Like we all know that the bankers and the politicians are stealing our money and they're tricking us, they're taking advantage of us because they want to just propagate these endless wars and like we
Yeah.
all know that. Like we all
Yeah.
know it. But it's just so normal that we just is that hyper normalization? Is that
That is a sort of normalization of things. Yes, I think hypernormalization is more the creation of a false reality,
oh
mostly through media like
oh
the
okay.
internet. If you look at Facebook, you see a false reality because
Mm-hmm.
people only post
Yep. Yep.
things that they
Yep.
want to
Yep.
post, and you
Yep.
only see things that you want to see, right?
Yep.
So
No.
it's completely selective. It's
Yeah.
completely unreal, right?
No, that's very true, man. That's very true. I mean, you see that especially on Instagram.
Yeah.
Everyone's posting just those certain photos where they look a certain way, and it's like, there's something about that that's just, it's so, it's so empty. And again, like I think that's why you're seeing this resurgence of connection to the earth, not just through like organic shit, but I think again with the psychedelics, with the plant
Mm,
medicine, right?
mm.
That's why you're seeing fucking ayahuasca crawl out of the jungle like a vine and starting to weave its way into the cultural fucking narrative, right?
Yeah, it certainly is doing that, and I think it is really necessary that it happens. We really need these things.
Yeah,
I don't think that they are the only thing that are needed,
right.
but a very powerful experience. And I'm actually going to write my thesis about how ayahuasca changes people's opinions on, nature conservation and natural values and so on.
Wow, that's awesome,
So
man.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad you're doing that because I think it's such an important thing for people to start to realize, you know, and to start to catch on. Like, so that's really cool, man. Yeah. Do you want to talk at all about some of your sort of experiences with that medicine, that type of medicine? Because I know
uh,
you've got quite a lot, and it's been an
yeah. I mean, I'm a sort of shaman
yeah. You were
nowadays.
saying,
So I also make ayahuasca for people. I made it
wow,
quite a few times now
wow, really,
for others, and it's been a really good experience. I'm actually gonna make it tomorrow as well. I'm gonna start cooking it for another guy who was interested,
wow,
and it's kind of when you get into the zone of things,
mm-hmm.
you get into this certain I don't know, frequency maybe.
Yep,
You
yep,
start, you kind of start to meet the people that you are supposed to meet. It just happens kind of, and
yeah.
ayahuasca kind of always comes up,
I know.
and then it sort of just happens, and
Yeah.
yeah, it really brings everything together, I think.
It is, yeah, it is. It's that vine, right? It sort of weaves its way in, and it does. It's kind of a connecting thing between people.
Yeah, well, the ayahuasca wine is also a parasite, but
Oh my!
uh,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
No, but you can make ayahuasca also from acacia tree, actually, which
Right.
is
Right.
you know, European, Egyptian. It was the
Burning
holy tree in
bush.
Egypt,
Yeah. The burning
stuff like
bush.
that. So
Yeah. So you're gonna make it yourself.
yeah, I make it myself. It's not that difficult, really.
Okay.
You just need like the ayahuasca wine
Mm.
and some tree bark of other trees that contain DMT. You can boil them
Mm-hmm.
and sort of make this brew.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But I recommend still that you would get it from someone who has experience with
Yeah.
making it and
Yeah.
not make it yourself.
Yeah.
But you can try for
Right.
sure.
No, but it's important because the trees and picking the proper trees and all of the
Yeah,
medicine for the ceremony, it all needs to be connected. And
yeah.
yeah.
And I have to say, like, you know, the ayahuasca wine, the trees, it comes from the Amazon, right?
Yep.
And the acacia trees are also in Australia. And you know, this is
Okay.
all burning right now, both the Amazon and
Oh
Australia.
shit.
So it is really important that we protect this. It is not just about, you know, the land. It's about something much more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can sort of feel this
Mm.
in the plants right now. Also, there's some bad vibes in ayahuasca right now because you can feel this distress
Mm.
from the plants.
Because there is this real message of like, I've heard this over and over again from people that the plants tell them like, you know, what are you guys are ruining the planet. Like
Yeah,
you have to stop ruining the planet. And it just seems to be this like pervasive message that people do get through the ayahuasca experience of there's something wrong with this species.
yeah.
And as a result of that, you guys are ruining the earth.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's a very clear message you get from this experience, and I also got sort of similar messages from mushrooms as well. They
Mm-hmm.
told me to stop eating meat, for example, and stuff
Oh,
like that.
really? Yeah.
Uh, and you know, everyone who knows about this, they know how it changes people, but still sort of need scientific evidence as well. So, you know, I will be happy to make some survey about this, for example. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're going to write this paper to the university as well, which is good. I
yeah,
mean, this is
yeah,
another
yeah.
step.
And we also have, for example, I think it's one university in or research center in the U.S. which is like,
John Hopkins.
yeah, John Hopkins
Yep.
is like only psychedelic research.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot too. A
So
lot
we
with
are seeing
mushrooms.
a lot of new research
Yep.
about all of this as well. It's
Yep.
really coming
Yeah,
forward.
it's awesome. A lot with MDMA. A lot
Yeah,
with mushrooms. I think all kinds of that stuff. I mean, that's fucking great. I'm glad.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Yeah, so that's cool. So you get different messages from the different medicines, right? Like cuz they each have a different characteristic, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It also depends. Like y- you can sort of just relax and just let go. You know, let the medicine do its work.
Mm.
But some people like me, maybe I can maybe also use it as a sort of energy to
Mm.
sort of do my own thing, like go to
Mm.
some different realm or something.
Interesting.
So you can have a sort of active experience or
Mm.
a passive experience, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's right.
And you can also have a external experience where you like just walk, maybe.
Right.
But you can also have a completely internal experience where you have your eyes closed, right?
Right.
You go into this dream state, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So you can have very different experiences.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, because it is all just these like feelings and emotions and like stimulus that our life is almost. Like it is just this feeling that you exist. Like what else is there in a way?
Yeah, it really connects you with feeling and intuition
Mm.
and like you just feel things. It's this direct experience. You know, there's no. You're not reading a book. You're not like. There's no like medium really. It's just direct. It's like telepathy, basically.
The guy who invented, I think this is right. The guy who invented LSD, that was Hoffman, right?
Yeah.
Is it true that he originally wanted to call it like telepathine?
I don't know.
Have you heard that? I thought I heard that.
But LSD actually exists naturally as well.
How do you get that? What is that?
Ergot. Ergot is a fungus.
Yeah, that's right.
It like grows on wheat.
That's right.
And ergot poisoning was kind of a problem in medieval times, for example.
That's right.
But I think because Pythagoras and Plato, they both had their sort of schools, sort of cults, right?
Right.
I think that they actually used ergot.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is some evidence for them.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot. There's like psychedelics, man, are interwoven throughout the human experience.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that there really are reasons to believe that sort of human language and cognition kind of co-evolved with these other organisms, like mushrooms, for example.
Did we talk about the stoned ape theory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of that was kind of termed by Terence McKenna, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so he basically kind of thought that during this period, there were like kind of human-like primates living in the trees, and they eventually came down out of the trees because there was less predators around, and they started foraging for food and begun to eat mushrooms off the ground, whatever was available, and some of these were psychedelic mushrooms, and it kind of triggered in them, as it does, all of these brand new fucking ideas about language and all types of shit, and that this was like a radical increase in the human brain development, and we were able to think faster and work together and hunt animals more and grow quicker. And that's kind of the theory, right?
Yeah, I think at the very least, like these mushrooms, for example, they show you mathematics, like they show you perfect geometry and stuff like that. So you can really see where that comes from, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these patterns. You just get these pattern ideas in your mind, and language. Yeah, of course, man. And there's some great paintings by. Do you know Alex Gray?
Yeah. He's brilliant.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's got a great painting that kind of depicts the stoned ape theory. It's just of a monkey.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Eating a mushroom, and these kind of language coming out of his head. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been interconnected, and that's interesting that Plato even was kind of into that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we don't really know,
right?
Because it's so old, but the ergot connection is there for sure. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
And then with Christianity, we have many connections. Like they burned acacia incense. This is in the Bible.
Right.
The burning bush. And in early Christian art, you can see depictions of mushrooms as well.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that John Anthony something, or John Marco Allegro, maybe, was that him? The book, The Mushroom and the Cross, or The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross.
And yeah, I think so.
He sort of dissected some of those texts, and he thought that Christianity was a mushroom cult, I guess, was his idea.
Yeah, I don't know if you can sort of
that might be
dissect it to just that. But there are some connections for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, no, that's interesting, man. And so even all the way back to kind of the Nordic kind of mythology and stuff, That's something that you're pretty interested in, right? Like kind of Nordic mythology.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm kind of interested in all mythology,
Right.
but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
just on the merit that I'm Scandinavian. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right. And they were definitely, because even when I mentioned to you about like the Vikings were using mushrooms and stuff, you were kind of saying that was just part of it. Like there was other aspects of, they weren't just eating mushrooms and then hopping off a boat and battle axing someone. There was like a whole other component of it, right?
Yes, I mean the Vikings were really just pirates, right?
Right, right. As you were saying,
But
yeah,
like we had the rest of mainland Scandinavians. You had
that's right.
sort of pretty rich spiritual tradition with shamanism and
Interesting.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah, and so they were doing some spiritual work inland a little bit, and were they using mushrooms to kind of learn these things?
For sure, there is
Okay.
one psilocybin mushroom which is native to Scandinavia.
Yeah.
So I'm certain that was used, and then you have the Amanita muscaria,
Right. I heard about that one.
the Mario mushroom,
Right, right. The red and white
which
one.
is also popular in Scandinavia and in Siberian shamanism, very popular.
Hmm.
And really, the whole Santa Claus and
Right.
Christmas comes from this tradition,
That's right. That's right.
because the Amanita grows in symbiosis with the spruce tree, right?
Right.
And then the shamans, they would come and pick them. The mushrooms, they would hang them to dry
Right.
under the tree. So you can see the beginnings of Christmas decorations here.
Yeah.
And then they would put the dried mushrooms in a sack. They would travel with the reindeer and sled.
Yeah.
Because there's so much snow, and then they would go and give these mushrooms as gifts to people on midwinter solstice.
Yeah.
And for there's so much snow and ice up there in northern Scandinavia, Lapland, that many houses, huts would be blocked with the snow. So
No way.
shamans would then put the mushrooms to the chimney instead.
No way.
Right?
What?
And the people would leave out porridge and cookies, as thanks to the shaman.
Oh, right.
So this is where it all comes from.
Wow.
And the reindeer also eat the mushrooms by themselves.
And I also heard that the psilocybin, the active ingredient, it actually does not break down through the bladder. So when you urinate, it's still active. And I heard that when the guys went out and were urinating, the reindeer would run up and eat the snow.
Yes, it's also the opposite. Because I've been in northern Finland with these shamans a bit, and they actually drink reindeer piss.
Oh, I
as well.
see. After they eat
the reindeer eat the mushrooms and so on.
Because it's still active.
But Amanita are not psilocybin mushrooms.
Oh, okay, they're not, right.
But they're not really psychedelic even, but they are certainly something.
Oh, I see.
Maybe more disassociative, I think.
Oh, I see. Okay, but it was still something to it.
Yeah, they are still a very powerful experience. I can recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that is interesting, man. Yeah, there's just so much with that, man, and it's just strange. Like it's I think just beginning to come back in our society. The last like the last 5 years or so, you hear a lot more about DMT, ayahuasca, all these things. Would you agree with that? So even just the last 5 years.
For sure. I think just it's coming. Yeah. Like it's just coming into society, but it's gonna take a while, and legalization is gonna be difficult for sure.
Yeah.
Especially here in Europe, people are very conservative.
Yeah.
Here, I think. But I'm very happy that some American cities are doing this.
Yeah, and how did you first hear about this kind of stuff?
Well, it was just a friend who gave me LSD, I think, right. Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
and that was kind of it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. And how has other people like responded to you kind of getting involved in this stuff? Like, do they understand? Do they think like it's weird? Like,
Mm, I think most people are quite understanding, actually, surprisingly. So
yeah.
even like my mom and stuff,
Hmm.
I'm surprised that she is okay with it.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
but
Yeah.
psychedelics are one thing, but then you have like shamanism and the machine elves. That's very far out there.
See, I thought machine elves were just basic fucking. I thought that was just basic shit.
Well, they are kind of basic shit in the big picture, but I think if you talk to machine elves to like normal people, they will kind of
Yeah, a bit crazy.
be a bit freaked out.
So they're not. The machine elves are not like you said that they were like close to the realm of the gods or something like that. So they are not gods at all.
I wouldn't call them gods
Right.
exactly. No, they are like I don't know, powerful spirits, maybe something. Right. The realm of the gods is quite different. It's like purely mathematical almost.
Okay.
And you really can meet all kinds of stuff there. Like the gods, basically, they are real things. Like the machine elves, you meet them exactly like that.
What are the gods doing? Even like they're working, right? Like they are doing something, aren't they? They're kind of like organizing the universe or something. Like,
yeah, well, that's difficult.
What a
really
fucking question.
But, I see that the material realm is really only a reflection of the higher realms.
Right. Yeah.
Like Plato's cave. Like this is only the shadow of the higher reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But they do seem to be like. They do seem to be uh, fundamentally good, though. That was my experience. Was that these gods do seem to be working for the greater good of things, and they do seem to be sending us love and value and like positivity generally if we're able to receive it, and they do seem to be sending like expansion and growth and evolution towards us. Like, does that seem correct?
Sure. I mean, the machine elves are very nice. At least there are some not so nice.
I agree with that.
There also.
I agree with that. That's something people. There are dickheads out there. There are fucking dickhead creatures, I believe, out there too.
Absolutely. I think when you go further, you should really know how to sort of protect yourself if you need it. There is this small book called like Psychic Self-Defense. It might be worth to read if you want to go much further into this stuff. Because there really is a lot there. It's like almost infinite, and
yeah, you can get lost, right?
You should really know what you're doing when you go up there.
Yeah.
And I think like in the olden days, you had like priests and shamans who had very specific rituals. They would be respectful and make offerings to the gods. Now we kind of have a bunch of I don't know, crackheads who just smoke DMT and kind of go up there and they don't really know anything.
I agree with that. I think that's fucking dumb to a degree of just random, just dudes sitting in some room smoking DMT all night for a laugh. Like, I mean, yeah, you have the right to do it, but is that the most effective use of your life? Like, or of this, these realms? It's kind of cheap. It feels kind of cheap sometimes.
Yeah, I think you should really respect it as a sort of sacred thing, and the plant medicines they are plants, they are living things also that sort of died
Mm.
For usage. Should really
That's true.
respect that as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well, and that's probably why, like, to have a shaman, a proper shaman, who's trained and practiced with the medicine is, for example, with ayahuasca, it's important to have that, right?
Yes, I think so. I have heard some horror stories. I think in South America there are kind of a lot of sort of fake shamans, and
Yeah,
they really don't know what they're doing, or they even like sexually assaulted
yeah.
someone and so on.
I've heard
It's
a little
really
bit about
wrong.
that too. Yeah, it's a shame. So you want to get in contact with a reputable spot, of which there are lots. So you can.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking into going down there to Costa Rica to one called Solterra. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
Okay, and there were actually Dennis McKenna's brother.
Oh,
Yeah, he runs retreats down there.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew Dennis was worked with Terrence a lot on a lot of those. They kind of worked together. A lot of people don't know that. Terrence McKenna was the talker, right? He had that great voice and that
Yeah,
great way
yeah.
to talk. But his brother Dennis did a lot of work with him. They kind of worked together. So anyway,
Yeah.
he's down there. He's running retreats and stuff. So that's cool.
But have you had ayahuasca before?
Believe it or not, there, Klaus, I have just agreed to go to
No.
an ayahuasca retreat February 6th and 7th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that will be my first experience.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck
Thank
there.
you, man. Thank you. So it's a big experience.
Yeah. And
I
that's down in South America.
no, it's not. I won't say any particulars about it because I don't know all the official rules surrounding it. But
Oh, yeah.
um, anyway, I am going. I know someone who has been there already and referred me,
Yeah.
and he really thought it was amazing and very professional, and so yeah, I filled out a form and an application and stuff. So I just and as you kind of know, once you agree to go, it kind of already is in motion, right?
Yeah.
And I had just the night that I responded to the email that yes, I would come. I just had a absolutely very incredible dream that night, which I
Mm.
really was so far out of what I had previously experienced. I knew when I woke up, okay,
Yeah.
it's happening. And then I got an
Yeah.
email back that day
Yeah.
saying, "Yeah, we have a seat for you."
Yeah. No, dreams are very important as well.
Yeah.
I actually have to say, I think of all my experiences with psychedelics or meditation or so, and I think lucid dreams are the most powerful
Mm,
experiences.
mm.
I
And
would really recommend it to everyone to get into lucid dreaming.
and that's when you kind of like engage with your dreams to a degree, and you kind of manipulate them and kind of
Yes, I think the first stage is just remembering your dreams, being
right.
aware of your dreams. So
Mm.
I think this dream that you had, for example, you should really write it down.
Well, I definitely was reflecting on it deeply that
Yeah,
day and the next day. I knew that it was powerful, and just the just how like I don't know, like visceral it was, how like
mm.
tangible it was, and just
Mm.
how out of left field it was, so outside of what I could have conceived of. I
Mm.
thought I just had this feeling of gratitude, like wow, like it's like that, like
Yeah,
holy, like so yeah.
yeah. I keep a dream journal,
That's
so
cool. Yeah, I've
I
done a
will
little
try
bit of
to
that, but yeah, yeah.
remember my dreams and write them down, and that really helps.
Mm,
Sort of getting into that zone where you, like, your goal is to be fully lucid and aware
hmm
while you're dreaming. So
mm,
it really is like a very powerful trip essentially.
because that is DMT, right? That you're
DMT is involved for sure, but I think there are a lot of other things, and we don't know this because it would kind of require us to dissect someone who is alive, basically.
Yeah.
But maybe someone in China will do that.
Yeah.
But DMT is special because it is produced in the body,
right,
in the human body, and also in mammals, like rats. And from what I gather, it's synthesized in the lungs.
Yeah.
It's actually created in your lungs when you breathe, and then it can sort of go through the bloodstream to the pineal gland. And then that will have some effect. But I think they did some research about this, and you would need maybe thousands or even millions of times higher concentrations of DMT for it to really be a trip, So we don't really know what it is, but it is involved for sure. And the thing you have to remember with mushrooms, for example, or ayahuasca, mescaline, cacti, is that there are a lot of other compounds involved as well.
Yeah.
And we don't really understand this yet, but I think the other compounds are very important as well.
That's right. That's right.
So I would never take synthetic,
right?
Psilocybin or something like that, because it is not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And I can say with ayahuasca, you can make it from different tree species, right? And the acacia experience is very special. It's very different because there are some other compounds there as well, and it's sort of more biblical, Egyptian sort of. Very special.
That's a side point I want to ask you. I'm not sure. Do you have any opinions on these sort of ancient structures? These sort of like Egyptian pyramids and
the pyramids. Yes. Because I've seen the pyramids in the DMT realm as well, right?
Right.
So then it's a kind of chicken or the egg question. Like,
did
the Egyptians get the DMT from the acacia tree?
Right.
And they saw the pyramids and they decided to replicate them.
Right.
Or could it even be the opposite? Did they somehow create them inside there?
Right. Like, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, like could they actually do that? And I'm wondering that, Atlantis, Avalon, these sort of mythical kingdom, Shambhala, are they actually, they are real, but they are not physical. They are in this space. Someone actually created them in this space.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I think that's possible.
That is interesting.
And the Varya, it's the Hindu and or it's Buddhist symbol, but it's I can just or you can look it up. But the Varya is this trident symbol.
Okay.
And I saw this in a lucid dream very clearly. And it was sort of made out of pure energy. And there were sort of people there doing something to it. So, like, it is a thing. Like, there is this Varya. It's not just a symbol, but it is a thing that exists somewhere. And like maybe people made it like a tool, energy tool. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is real.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that we could maybe. I'm thinking that we are sort of slowly evolving. Into this higher realm, right?
Yeah.
So we have kind of already started to build some structures.
That's right. And we were trying to like evolve possibly to a degree by trying to make it more real in this realm the best we could, right? To build these pyramids that we were getting in touch with in these other realms and thinking, okay, we have to manifest these in this realm, build these pyramids. And I think there's something powerful and there's something forgotten, I believe, about it, especially the pyramids.
Yes, yes, yes. They are so ancient. I think people don't know how ancient they are because,
Yeah.
Cleopatra, um, the time difference between us and her is the
Yeah.
same as between her and the pyramids,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So they are super, super old.
Super old, and they're much older than what the current mainstream sort of Egyptology sort of system believes. Those guys are very much locked into a very small dogma,
Yeah,
and they're missing the broader picture. And I think that
absolutely.
people do have to understand that those guys are locked into a little tiny system that, in a way, is kind of there to sell textbooks and fucking tours.
Yeah, and I
So,
mean, religions have been so clouded by political
yeah,
circumstance and such. But yeah, all religions are kind of correct in their own way, and
yeah,
all of them are sort of wrong in their own ways also.
yeah, yeah.
But I really see that it's a sort of big puzzle to solve, to uncover, and you kind of have to be really open-minded and sort of
Yeah.
take the best parts from everything, sort of put it together.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and you really start to see the connections between everything. You start to see, for example, you have the Buddha, you have Jesus, you have Odin, and they are sort of the same character in some way. They all sacrifice themselves in a way. And the Buddha sat under a tree for I think 3 days, did nothing else, and Jesus was crucified also for 3 days, I think. That's sort of a tree as well, you could say, the crucifix. And then you have Odin, who hanged himself from the world tree for 9 days then. So it sort of is the same story there. And the cross is really profound symbol as well, because it's not unique to Christianity in any way, really. Christians like to pretend that it is, but it's not. Because you have the Celtic cross, for example, which came before the Christian cross, and it's also a rune. It's the Gebo rune. It's just an X. I can write it here. Yeah, I mean it's just an X, right? Like this, right? This is the Gebo rune, and it also is the cross. And the sort of idea with Christianity is that the cross is also supposed to bring people together with love, I guess, or religion, whatever. But it's exactly the same meaning in the Gebo rune.
Oh, really?
It's something that brings stuff together, like friendship, marriage, love. This is the same meaning.
I thought that was.
And I'm gonna blow your mind. Okay.
Good.
Because this symbol, right, very simple symbol. Then you have it's a bit hard to write.
Yeah.
But you see, it's multiplication.
2 times 2 equals 4. Is that what it is?
You see, it's the same sign. It's the cross, right?
Oh, the multiplication thing.
Because it brings two together to one.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay,
it's
yeah.
the same thing with the plus sign. It's
right.
The same symbol,
I see. Oh, okay, yeah. So they used those same symbols later when they were creating mathematics and stuff, right? Oh, that is interesting.
It is the sort of universal principle.
Huh.
bringing
See, that's interesting.
and it's this symbol. It's the same symbol wherever we go. Right?
It's see, you were mentioning that to me last time. How all these like even this Norse guy was it Thor or was it Odin who did himself with the impaled him on the sword?
Oh,
And
that's Odin.
that's
Yeah.
Odin, okay. And so he was getting in touch with these other realms, and he was bringing forth these rune stones, which eventually became the alphabet, right? Which we are still using, really. And this, these same kind of symbols, other cultures were also coming in contact with these symbols, like independent of other ones, right?
Yeah, like the cross, for example.
Yeah.
I think these were independent, and yeah, the story is that Odin then hanged himself from his spear
Yeah.
down the tree, and he sort of came to this knowledge of language of these symbols, the runes, and again, very interesting parallel with the Bible. It's a very important quote in the Bible that first was the word. I can also recommend Tarkovsky. He's a Ukrainian filmmaker, very legendary. This is also an important concept in his movies. And because, in the Bible, God says that let there be light. But it was spoken, so the word was before light.
Interesting.
So the first was the word.
Right? Interesting. So it's almost that these words, these concepts were kind of before the actual light. That's interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah.
And I think it kind of makes sense again if we think about vibration, which you mentioned.
That's interesting.
Everything is vibration frequency, because words which we are speaking right now, they are frequency, right? They are different. And then
frequencies. The light that's interesting, because I kind of saw them as the same in a way, that light and vibration and words were, I guess I always thought light was the most primitive and primal thing, but are you saying that you kind of think it's actually more of a vibration, which can come first almost like as a language in a way, through vibration language almost?
Well, there certainly is a sort of pantheon, or there is a how do you say, there are different levels of things, and when you look at Greek mythology or Nordic mythology, for example, they have this pantheon of gods. Like some gods are just the children of other gods or something. So there is this hierarchy of things, that some things are only a reflection of other things, right? And then the question is that what are the highest things? Many people like to say that there is then some one primordial god, maybe Brahman or something, or then you can go with the duality aspect of yin and yang. These are sort of primordial parents of all other things. Right?
Yeah.
And I kind of prescribe to that idea, I think.
More of a duality?
You have in Gnosticism, Gnostic Christianity, you have this concept of the aeons. That these are the sort of primordial beings, which sort of replicate themselves with each other, sort of infinitely to all other things.
Right.
And in Gnosticism, the two primordial beings were chaos and silence. So this is their aspect of yin and yang.
Okay. What is the aeon again? Just briefly describe that, because I remember you mentioned that to me before, and that was an interesting concept.
Yes. So this is a Platonic idea as well,
Mm.
and this would be sort of concepts, right?
Okay, right.
Like the all reds, all the red color in the world, and like sort of all the red.
Right.
Uh, you could even talk about red emotions, maybe, or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, they all, it's a
Like
concept.
they are all just an emanation of the red
Red. Yeah. Yeah.
aeon. Then,
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
and then the red aeon is maybe a child of some other
Mm.
aeon, like
Mm. Color.
color or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, right, yeah.
And sort of that all physical objects have maybe different varieties of hardness and softness, right?
Mm.
Of like we could talk about different sort of primordial qualities, like you know, moving, immovable, flowing. You know, like really everything
Mm.
is like are different combinations of these
Mm. Mm.
primordial aspects, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Because it does, it all comes back to these like fundamental concepts, and then everything kind of sprawls out from that, like
Yeah,
it's like a small nudge in a direction can, if a boat that's nudged in a direction can end up way over there. And it's like that with ideas, it's like that with like
mm,
intentions, like if you have like an angry intention to someone, even just a little bit, it's
yeah,
gonna play itself out, right?
yeah, yeah,
And that's it. It's like, even if you just, and that's why you have to, if you do get these types of like angry emotions or angry intentions, you have to address them and recognize them, because it's some subtle thing that needs to be addressed, or it's going to reverberate out. No matter how much you try to keep it down, it's going to slowly and subtly draw you
yeah,
towards that issue in someone else. It's like you have a magnet. It's
yeah,
like you have a magnet in your pocket, and even though you've just shoved it in your pocket, it's still subtly drawing you towards someone else who has like a similar vibration in there. And just in some way, you're going to be drawn into that. And that kind of is like an aeon, is how you call it. Like it's an aeon within you, right? It's an idea. It's a concept of an angry intention. So it can go the other way too, with like
yes,
love and
yes. It's
friendship.
yeah. I think that is kind of correct. Like,
Mm.
and the Buddhists talk about karma as well. Like,
Right.
it's this sort of there's bad karma that sort of it just continues
Mm.
and it has to be resolved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't really hide from it. It's gonna come out in some way
Mm.
or the other. So you really have to solve
Mm.
this bad karma, and it might have come from your parents or
Yeah.
something, or from society.
Yeah. And that's the work too, right? And like that kind of is our job. In a
Yeah,
way, that is our job as people,
yeah,
is to process through that karma, that
yeah,
resistance, and process through that, because that seems to be a lot of our purpose here on Earth. Like as humans, we're almost just like karma processing machines, and like the upkeep of that machine is just like some food, some water, sex once in a while, use the bathroom, and but all we're really doing is just like processing resistance, and karma, I think, is what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah. The Buddhist idea of bodhisattva, at
Mm.
least, is that we sort of came from these higher realms
Uh,
on purpose. We came here voluntarily
yeah.
to sort of help
Right.
this part of the universe somehow. Like we
Right.
came here to resolve this bad karma.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And
Or it's the idea that we do exist in these higher realms right now.
yeah.
Like a higher self already is there. But this is like just a projection or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's kind of like making a character in a
yeah.
video game or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
or almost like we've sent we've sent like a remote control robot up to Mars to complete a task, and we're like controlling it from here. We're like,
Yeah.
go over here, dig this hole, collect these rocks, come on. But it's difficult because it's so fucking far away. And in a way,
Mm.
it's kind of like what we're doing, I think, almost here. It's like we've come down from this other realm to process resistance and to help sort things out. But when we get here, it's confusing. It's like, well, what the fuck? Like, why are things so stupid? Why are we selling fucking drugs and cigarettes? And it's
Yeah.
hard to figure it out.
Yeah. And we probably came here as well to, learn something. Like we came here to, I think, to learn how to love, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be the most important thing.
Yeah, and it is. It's so obvious when you start to see it. Like the whole point is to produce value, to produce love, and then share that with people who can appreciate it, right? And like it's a shame that people don't seem to understand that, or they seem to have forgotten that. And it's difficult to do that in this world because it isn't really rewarded very easily, right? You don't get rewarded for being a person who produces value and love as much as you do for being someone who just like figures out how to like sell some shit on a clickbait site or something, right?
Yeah, no, it's kind of the opposite that we live in a society where psychopathy basically is rewarded.
Yep.
You look at maybe someone like Trump, he's a professional psychopath basically, and this is rewarded. Like you can be the president, here there you go.
I mean, the kind of concept is true. Like we do reward behavior a lot of times, which is really not productive for the overall species. Like we reward like the giant oil corporations that like dump huge amounts of toxic waste into fucking rivers, and like massive corporations that just like clear cut huge portions of the forest without any like care for what's going on. And the truth is we do reward that, like we really do. And so it is a shame. Like,
yeah, this is a very difficult video game that we have started. If you want to put it like that.
Yeah, no, it's funny though, man. And like, but the truth is, once you start to catch on to these things, like we're trying to, and you connect with other people who are thinking like this, you do start to see that you're like, oh, okay, like I'm not the only one. Like there's other people who get this too. There's other people who are starting to see this too. And I think now one of the good things about the internet, like, because there are lots of fucking stupid things, because, there's a lot of it that's just used for gossip and for distraction and nonsense.
Yeah.
But part of the good part is that we can start to connect with other people and spread this kind of message and create kind of like communities, like online communities, where other people can get together and feel like, okay, cool. I'm part of something that's cool now. I'm part of the group that's figuring things out. And I think that is powerful in a way. And I don't think that's something that the like sort of fucking corporations and like the government structures really, I don't think they really anticipated that.
No, the internet is very powerful for this, and the documentary I mentioned earlier, it actually talks about this concept exactly.
Really?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I recommend you watch it. It's on YouTube for free.
Cool, yeah, and that's like hyper normalization.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Also talks about LSD a bit, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, yeah.
But it is a bit cynical. Maybe it talks about sort of the failure of the hippie movement and the failure of the sort of free internet to actually change the world a bit.
Really?
And I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I mean, we are kind of fucked, basically, like with climate change. Like it's kind of irreversible at this point, and
we are doing a lot of damage. It's a shame.
We are so many people on this planet. Like it's so many. It's way too much. Yeah. Like not even close.
We're producing so many people because it's good to have a lot of people to tax, right? You got to tax those people. And if you've got a lot of people, you can just tax them. You can drive them into the salt mines, into the factories, and it's easy to you can just fucking mass control them. And that is kind of what we're doing. And I think you're right. We've got an overpopulation issue, and we've got an over consumption of resources issue, and we seem to be just carrying right on. We don't even seem to be trying to stop it. So, yeah, there are issues for sure.
Yeah, because I'm really so convinced of this sort of collapse that's going to happen.
Really? Like an environmental collapse?
It's not going to be the end of the world.
No. It'll be like, do you mean like an environmental collapse or more like a social collapse? Or?
Well, it's both. They are sort of the same thing, really.
Yeah, true.
Think about it. So I actually been thinking about learning about sort of self-sufficiency,
Yeah.
Sort of living off-grid, farming, getting your own energy and so on.
Yeah.
Kind of in case, sort of.
That's interesting.
Just so you're prepared to maybe go.
It could happen. I mean,
and start your own little commune, maybe, or something.
No, it is true, and I think there's still things that can be done. I think with our current society, like I think that there are still things that can be done because there's so much valuable information. And there's so much good content and good books, and we have such a capacity for advancements in technology and advancements in the human being's capacity for growth and for change and for enlightenment is so massive that I think we can begin to shift into a better direction. And one thing that I've noticed, and I've mentioned this a few times recently to people, is that when I'm operating in a way that I feel is very, very in alignment with my principles and my morals, and that's all I'm willing to accept, and I'm not willing to accept bad behavior from people, you would be surprised with how people will step up to meet those expectations because they do not want to be seen as a fucking lesser being. And so I think that the more that we can improve our own being and our own standards and our own vibration, we'll start to shine a light of example to people. And they can see like, okay, I fucking have to behave like this now. Like this is the new norm. It's kind of like with what happened with like being racist and shit to people. Like I know some of that still exists, but a lot of that over time was just like, yo, don't fucking behave like that anymore. Like we're not putting up with that anymore. And I want this to become like that too, where people begin to see like, motherfucker, be nice to people. Be nice. Yeah. Don't stop fucking gossiping. And I think we can make progress there. That's what I would say.
Sure. I would still like to see this come from a genuine place in people as well. I think sort of some culture of shame and so on. It's not really the correct thing either.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. And I don't mean it to be in a shaming, I guess. I don't mean that. I mean more just I want it to come from a place of like raising the bar and encouraging others to do that as well, of just like, look, like this is what I'm trying to do, and have people see that of like, okay, maybe I should try to be like that too. But I definitely hear you. I'm not into the shaming, bro. I'm not into the fucking shaming. I don't think that's productive. Because I think we have enough of that out there already.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a good point though. You're right. It's like we're not. I guess just like, we can be nicer. Like, why not? Like, let's try from a real place. Like,
Yeah, but I don't know. It's maybe still a bit naive to think that, like
yeah,
of course we should be nice to people
yeah,
and
yeah.
spread love and so on. But
Mm, yeah,
again, the hippies sort of tried to do this in
yeah,
the 70s,
true.
was it 60s with LSD, and
Yeah.
it didn't really work with it. So you
True.
you really need something more.
I hear you,
Some
but I
you need
also,
some power maybe,
yeah,
something.
man. But there is power in like being a strong person, like being
Mm,
a strong fucking person. And I'm not talking about like some like fucking some like woo woo kind of like everybody's equal, like everyone should get along, like let's have a
yeah,
fucking safe space. Like, because I'm not about that, man. I don't
no,
think
no,
that's
no,
productive. I don't think
mm,
that's helpful for anyone. In fact, if you watch some of the other vids, I'm completely disregard that type of shit. I think it's
yeah,
worthless.
yeah, no, no, that's good, that's good.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think it's a fucking disgrace. But
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
absolutely, man, 100%. I am totally on board with that. I'm about how the fuck can I improve as a person and and put up a strong, firm boundary on behavior that I think is fucking not working. And saying, if you want to get access to my time or my tribe or my group, you honestly should improve your behavior to a way that you have something to relate with me because this is how I'm behaving now. And so I don't think it's coming from a place of like, just spread love to everyone. It's like, I'm producing love, I'm producing value. If you want to get access to that, bring something to the
Mm,
table, like our fucking species have been doing for thousands of years. We trade, we bargain, right? That's kind of
yeah,
where I'm coming from.
yeah. Mm.
Hmm.
And I guess the UN
Hmm.
does that, but it has no power basically. Like it's a joke. So
It's kind of just like a political agency to give a career to like 5,000 employees, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually went to the conference of the parties. It's the big climate change
Okay.
negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
I went there last year in Poland, Katowice,
Mm-hmm.
because my university sends a delegation there every year. So
Yeah.
I was a part of that. And it's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Like you have like Saudi Arabia, they're talking about how green their oil industry
Oh,
or
yeah.
is or something. Like it's a complete joke.
Yep.
It doesn't work.
No, I believe that. And so much of those organizations are full of shit.
Yeah, yeah,
So much of those organizations, it's all nonsense. It's like, it's like it's like fucking McDonald's will be like, we have a nice work environment and our employees all get great benefits. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, we all know you're paying your employees minimum wage. It sucks.
yeah,
Just admit it. Everybody knows it.
yeah. Yeah, I really don't believe in market solutions
Hmm.
to this problem. I really don't believe.
Hmm.
It's hard to believe in political solutions. Even I think this has to come from a much deeper place. It has to come from a genuine
Hmm.
place
Hmm.
within people. And
Yeah.
I think psychedelics, for example, they
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
And they are one of the things that do that.
But also, I think that like the natural market pressures, I believe, do exert a powerful force. For
Sure.
example, there are natural market pressures of something like martial arts. So, in the martial arts marketplace, there are fucking natural pressures which cannot be dismissed. If you get into a ring and you think that you're a kung fu master because you've been practicing in your basement for 5 years on a fucking pillow, but you come into a UFC ring and someone else has been training in an actual gym, jujitsu, boxing, everything, the natural pressures will find out what is the most valuable, and you will be served a honest feedback of your skills. So
Sure.
so I'm about trying to remove barriers to that. and saying, let's find out what is actually taking place here. And some of those politician guys you mentioned, those Saudi Arabian guys that were at that show, it's like I would like those people to come together in a real and meaningful way and be like, okay, man, cool. What are you guys actually doing then? And they're like, well, the oil's green. It's really, but how is it green though? Well, it's just, it's actually just 5%. We just pollute 5% less this year. And it's like, okay, but guys, that's not enough. And then I'd like them to have some like meaningful, like, oh, okay, maybe we can do more. It's a slow process, I think.
Yeah, but it's too slow. That's the thing.
Oh,
Because
okay, yeah.
it's already irreversible. Many things
Yeah.
with climate change. It's
Yeah.
like even if you stop everything now, it's
Right.
still too late. I think it's all the ices are melting, and in Tibet right now there are these ancient viruses that have stayed in the ice, right?
Really?
Melting.
Oh,
now it's melting. So there's also that aspect. So there are
So we got these ancient viruses. They're getting thawed out by fucking by global warming, and the viruses are going to get out, and we have no protection against them.
Yeah. But the thing is that the planet will fight back. It will balance things out on its own. But like it's not gonna be really pretty. It's not gonna be a happy story for anyone. So we could sort of recognize this problem or this process right now and sort of avoid that, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be messy too, though. Like we might have to lose a few countries to underwater.
Yeah.
Like we might, like realistically, like we might have to lose a couple of countries underwater. We might have to lose a couple of cities to major earthquakes and fucking flooding. And we might have to sustain a couple of centuries of fucking blizzards or like devastating heat waves. We might have to lose fucking a few billion people on this planet. Like that is actually realistic.
Yeah.
And so that's just like, oh, okay. That's how fucking dumb we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, it seems to be the way.
Like, yeah. I think.
And again, like the old cultures, like they knew about this. They knew about the balance, the harmony. Like we have just gone too far. We have gone away from that. We have lost connection to everything, to nature. It's and it's all coming back to us.
Yeah, and like the magnitude of some of these things, like these floodings, or we might lose a couple countries. The reason why they're so massive, why these repercussions I think will be so massive, is because our society is so absurd. Like we really are. Like we're cutting down like the entire, like the lungs of the planet is the rainforest. We're like we're systematically cutting it down. And it's like you can just think about that, and it's like that would be like me just like cutting my arms off.
Yeah.
And just being like, I don't really. Well, Luke, how are you going to drive the car? I don't care. Just it doesn't matter. It's like it's so insane. Like we're dumping like toxic waste. This is what we do with garbage and toxic waste. We just dig a hole and then we just push it in and we bury it.
Yeah, no. And it's insane with all the microplastics.
That too.
It's everywhere in the water. And Teflon, like Teflon pans.
Yeah.
It has this really cancerous toxins in them. They're actually going to ban Teflon in the EU.
Nice.
Which is good, but like we all have this in our blood.
Yeah.
and again with the karma, like these toxins, they actually transmit from mothers to their children.
Yeah.
Through the placenta, you know.
Yeah.
So like we can't escape this. It's insane.
True, but I would still argue that the amount of innovation and advancement that can take place, and the human being's ability to work together in like symbiotic relationships is pretty fucking astounding. Like there is potential. I believe there is potential. There just is also a lot of dummies, and our society fucking rewards dummies. But the interesting thing is nature doesn't. Like the universe, the universal law of things does not reward fucking dummy behavior. It does not. Like it doesn't matter like how much money you have, how much Lamborghinis you buy. If you're still a fucking weakling and you try to like buy that girl, if you try to buy that girl, yo, she's in tune with the universe. She's in tune with nature. And if you're out of alignment with that, you're going to get checked. You're going to get checked, bro. And nature's like that too. And so I'm waiting for some of those natural pressures to start checking bros.
Yeah.
And just start checking them. Who knows? Maybe some of those things are going to start to, who knows? Like some of these guys who are allowing these things to take place, maybe it's already happening. Who knows? Maybe the universe is like shoving cancer upon these guys for that reason in some way. Who really knows? But I think there's more to it. I think that there is more to this whole situation than just fucking particles of plastic in the fucking water.
Of course, because I'm studying environmental science, and
right.
I sort of started with the physical problems of toxins and so on. But then I realized that okay, this is actually a social problem. Right? It's it all comes from our values and such, and this is actually a spiritual issue.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at now.
That's interesting.
It's all about our values and what we value, because right now we value beef more than the Amazon rainforest. This is why they are cutting it down for beef production, and we don't need this. Like you don't have to be a vegetarian even. You could just eat like chicken or something. It's okay, but you don't need to eat beef from the Amazon. You don't need this.
You also can make better choices. You also can try to purchase. We can start to work together to purchase things more locally. Like I know it's kind of cliched now to talk about like buy locally, buy organic. Like
but it's
true though. But like there's absolute truth to it. Like. And I'm even beginning, I know you mentioned earlier about like something about where your clothing comes from. I'm really starting to see that now because I can see how so much of the clothing, it's so cheap. The materials are they feel like plastic. And if you go to the mall, you can see in those shops, it's not healthy, and I can only imagine what some factory in fucking Bangladesh is like. So I'm starting to look into that too, where I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to support that. Like I don't want to support that type of behavior because it's not right. And I'd rather spend 3 or 4 times the money. I don't care if it's 5 times the money, but at least I can feel like I'm not fucking supporting that. And I'll put that on my budget for entertainment. I don't give a fuck. It's entertainment. I'll sit home in a nice sweater and be like, this is entertainment now. $20.
Yeah. And, then you get, clothes of greater quality. They don't break. You can use them for longer.
Yeah.
And, clothes that are made organically, they don't contain microplastics because a lot of microplastics come from polyester clothing, right? Because when you wash these polyester clothes, you know, then you get some microplastics from that process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also goes out into the sea eventually. So
Mm-hmm. It's interesting though you said that too, but that's kind of a spiritual problem because that is true because it's like people feel like, oh, who cares? It doesn't matter if I buy junk clothing. It doesn't really matter if I just like litter, even just drop in a wrapper on the ground because it's a fundamental lack of connection to
yeah,
the
yeah,
greater things.
yeah.
It's a fundamental lack of personal fucking integrity that like, no, man, no. I'm not going to do that. If you
Yeah.
fucking if you 99 people want to do that and behave like an idiot, I can't change that, but I'm number 100. I'm not fucking with that. And that gives me power. Again, that gives me power. And that brings me back to my other point where it's like, that's the change I feel like we can do. And that's the way we can demand better behavior from other people. That, like, hey, I was the 100th guy and I behaved well. You don't have to
Yeah.
fucking thank me. You don't even have to recognize it. But if you're not willing to get on board, you know what? Go hang out with those other 99 people then, if that's what you want to do. Go hang out with them because it's about trying to I believe trying to separate from that. It's like it doesn't matter to me if 99 people think that's okay. 99 people probably thought smoking cigarettes was okay 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how I'm trying to see it, and I think that there is power in that, and I think that the universe wants to reward that and bring people like this together, right? Bring us together with
Yeah.
topics like these.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for that to work, you then have to be sort of a good role model as well, and you just have to know how to connect with people, how to talk to people, because a lot of people don't like this subject because they feel that they are sort of being attacked or something. And I mean, they kind of are. I kind of am attacking people, but you can sort of do that in a nicer way, I guess. But
True.
I don't know.
No, it's true because it is like in a way it is kind of like hard to tell a person like, hey, bro, you should stop smoking cigarettes because you're getting cancer, or like, hey there, man, you're killing the environment, or we're killing the environment. You know that, right? But I think that it's crazy, but I think that there's more power in a way of being that 100th guy. 99 guys want to buy junk. They want to act like it's nothing. It's more power in being that 100th guy who's like, whoa, what the fuck? What are you guys doing? Yo, that's fucked up, man. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be a part of that. Because I think we have a luxury now. It's like, imagine the strength it took for that 100th guy, like in Germany during the war, to be like, wait, what the fuck are you idiots doing? You're rounding up who all now and sending them where? No, fuck this. You guys are idiots. Like, that guy there had some real courage, and that was his life on the line. In fact, he probably got shoved in the fucking boxcar and sent off with them. So, but he still had the courage to say it. Now, we have a luxury today, I believe, that you are somewhat protected from being shoved into a boxcar and sent off if you are that 100th guy who says, no, fuck this. And it's still like you are going to face some massive fucking resistance from people because they don't want to hear it. And they don't want you behaving like that. But I think it does give you a strength to be able to draw that line of like, I don't think like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think like that, guys.
Yeah, you should always stick to these morals that you have. It's so important. Never compromise, basically. I kind of did this on Christmas to some extent, because
the family was all there, and you were like, "Hey guys, listen."
I did criticize them a lot, and I refused to eat anything non-vegan there as well. And Of course, they thought it was very rude, but I don't give a fuck. I also, they were singing, some Christmas songs, and I guess, and I had my shaman drum with me, and started singing my own stuff there. So I stood up for myself.
Yeah, it's true, man. No, it's true. Like, I mean, it's hard too because it's like, how do you find a way to make it fit in too, right? Like, it is tough. Like,
Yeah,
it's tough and it's a fine line. I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard for everyone. Like, it's hard for me too. It's like, when do you draw the line of like, you know what? No, like, I'm not doing this. Or when is the line where you're just like, you know what? Here I am with Christmas with fucking Aunt Jenny and fucking Uncle Bill, and they're just all here and they want to eat fucking Christmas dinner, and for 45 minutes I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and eat this dinner, and like, there you go, and okay.
yeah,
So it's tough, like, but yeah, that's funny. I think maybe, and we'll wrap up here soon, man. I know you probably got stuff to do. We've been a while, but I think the best we can do, and something maybe both of us can work on here, is like, like, finding other people who are interested in this and who are
yeah,
keen on this and who
yeah,
want to be a part of this and who want to make moves and want to make progress,
yeah,
and like, spend our time and energy investing in that, investing in them. What can we do together? How can we work together? Can we make a video? Can we do a project? Can we write a book? What can we do together? And let's find even more people who want to work on this together. And then let's find out how we can get people with money involved. How can we get people with
yeah,
influence involved? And let's make it cool. Everyone
yeah,
wants to be cool. Don't forget
yeah,
that. Everyone wants to be cool. Well, let's make
yeah,
it fucking cool. And like, the cooler something is, like, you'd be surprised. A tipping point will happen. Like, a tipping point happened with smoking cigarettes, where it's
yeah,
really not cool anymore.
mm,
It's not that cool. It used to be cool, super cool.
yeah,
You could be cool just smoking a cigarette. It's not that cool anymore. Same thing
no,
happened with racism. It's not cool to be racist at all. And eventually that happened. And I think something I'm trying to do, and maybe this is something that we can work on, is like, let's make this cool. Like, it's going to be cool to learn about yourself. It's cool to learn how to function better and to work with the environment better. This is the right thing to do. Everybody
yeah,
knows the right thing to do, man. When you do the right thing, everyone fucking knows it. There's no debate. It's like, that dude there did the right thing.
yeah.
And so it's like,
I really wish that maybe Hollywood and such,
yeah.
did this a bit more.
Yeah, but they're kind of caught up being like hyper liberal right now.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess
they're just it's a bit much. Like, they're just
yeah,
obsessed with being so fucking hyper liberal and just
mhm,
super politically correct and like hyper
yeah.
fucking social justice warrior. I don't think that's the right thing.
No, and Sweden is
Oh,
maybe the country that
they
with
invented it.
climate change policy, for example, they are super good with that.
Yeah.
But then you have all the other stuff there that's just
I know.
so.
I know all about it. I lived in Sweden twice, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know all about it. I made my peace with that. I know you're from Sweden, so it's a little different, but I think that what happened there, and we won't get too into that. Maybe that's another video for another day. But I think that that's a real example. What happened in Sweden? It's a real example of being politically correct and being like hyper liberal.
Yeah.
That got carried away. I think
Yes.
it really got carried away, and I think what you see there is the consequences of that, and
Yes.
the consequences of falling out of balance with the
Yes.
you can't just. And I like what you were saying before, where I was saying some of those things, and you were like, "Look, man, don't be naive." And I said, "I'm not fucking,
Mm.
I'm not some fucking social justice warrior,
Yeah. No, I
politically
know.
correct." Because I realize how that doesn't work either.
No,
It's not, yeah,
I know the it's usually about balance.
yeah.
It's somewhere there in the middle. And yes, Sweden is just falling apart. It's
I know.
awful.
I know. It's sad. Actually, I know I'm laughing, but It really and truly is
Yeah,
sad.
yeah, it is.
It absolutely is. I think that the best thing that can come from what has happened in Sweden these past couple decades, whatever long it's been, is that everybody needs to look at that and say, guys, we tried. Sweden tried. They put the biggest effort that any country ever has done, more than anyone could have ever asked them. They completely fucking did it with the best intentions, and it's time now to realize it did not work.
Yeah.
And so we have to look at that and realize, okay, we gave it the full effort and it didn't work. So we have to now realize it's like this approach that we're saying. It's like an integrative approach. It's like a common sense approach. It's having strict fucking boundaries. It's not being afraid to offend someone who's a fucking idiot, who's thinking in retarded ways. It's not being scared to say fucking words that people are offended by. Like, as long as you're not doing it intentionally. It's about telling people if they're fucking dumb, they can piss off and they're not invited. And I think this is the way, and I think this is the way it was always supposed to be anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think with Sweden, we can also look at what went wrong exactly, and I think again, it's this naive vision that
fantasy,
just being kind and loving and diplomatic with everyone is gonna fix everything, but it's not that simple.
Not that simple, man.
You also need like some strength and intelligence and stuff like that, and I think all of this really comes from Christianity, actually. This sort of weakness, this sort of sheep mentality. And it's sort of Christianity destroyed all these old nature religions in Europe a long time ago. And I think we can see everything from environmental problems through the sort of degradation of society in this way. I think it all comes from Christianity, actually, in many ways.
There's definitely an element of it. There's an element of it. I think that whatever benefits originally Christianity had, I'm sure Jesus had some good ideas, and I'm sure it was great, but obviously it's been taken over by all these other ideas, and clearly it's not serving the vast proportion of people. Perhaps that's an element of what took place in Sweden. I also heard sort of theories that it had to do with the iron ore that Sweden was exporting to Germany during the war. And so that they kind of felt a bit guilty after the war because they had all the money and were not damaged at all. Did you hear?
No, I mean, Sweden were not a part of the war, so...
No, but they were kind of shipping that iron ore right down to Germany.
I know, but many other countries did much worse things, right? So.
I know, I feel guys, because I spent time in Södertälje, which is...
Oh, yeah, Södertälje.
Yeah. So I met some local guys there. I knew some local people there. So a few of them mentioned to me about maybe that was an idea that, like, perhaps then Sweden was doing well after the war, and since they were doing so well, because it all came down to kind of one sort of prime minister, right, or one president that made this big decision, like, hey, let's change our policies.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think these problems go much deeper.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
It's just this extreme weakness.
Yeah,
like
100%.
People are so afraid of everything. Like, you can't say anything.
100%.
Offend anyone. Like,
I'm fucking 100% on board with you with that, man. Let's just focus on that. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter why the fuck it happened. Who cares? It's already happened. But I am so on board with that. That type of thinking is so fucking stupid. It is so fucking dumb. It is so harmful to everyone involved. It's like living in a fantasy fucking land. It's like living in a fantasy land. It's totally disconnected from reality. And you're just like, no. I want to believe this. It's like this. Everybody thinks like this. It's like, dude, no, they don't. And so I don't think I would ever even... I would be reluctant. I don't know. I mean, I don't like that type of thinking, and I don't think it's healthy. And I am sad for particularly, especially the young men in Sweden
Yes, yes, yes.
who have to fucking live like that, and who have to have like feminism and shit jammed down their throats, and it's
Yeah, and like these Swedish men, they really lack, initiative completely. They lack this strength they should have, and should have become these slaves
yeah,
almost to this system. They really got to break out.
100%.
One friend. He just like works like 6 days a week, like really tough hours, and gets paid almost nothing, and he's just like so weak, like he has no initiative, and like I'm trying to tell him that, hey, this is maybe not ideal, you need to be a bit masculine, take some initiative, but he's so brainwashed by this
Oh,
idea that you can't be masculine, you
oh,
can't be a man, at all.
oh.
It's wrong. It's
Well, it's against the law in Sweden to be
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
a man.
Basically, it's
It's
right.
against the law in Sweden to be a masculine fucking man.
Yeah,
I think like it is. It's fucking a disgrace. Like,
yeah,
so I am completely under the impression that shit's bad for everyone.
yeah.
It's fucking
And it gives rise to this counter culture then,
yeah,
which is like the fascist
yeah.
hyper masculine thing, which is not good either.
No, no, true, and absolutely, and it's like, but it's understandable. It's
Yeah,
like that's understandable, guys. What did you think was going to happen?
yeah,
What did you think was going to happen? Of course, the fucking far right parties are getting all kinds
yeah,
of power now. What the fuck did you think was going to
yeah,
happen? You
yeah.
idiots, the far fucking left psychopaths. They should have stopped doing all that crazy shit at
Mm.
some point, or had a little bit of common sense. Just a little bit of common sense would have gone a
Yeah.
long way. Like, um, look, I mean, the bottom line with all that type of shit, as far as I can see, okay, you like a young man is not ever going to be served by being fucking weak,
No, no, no.
fucking timid, afraid of the fucking system. It's just it's crazy talk, and the system likes it that way, and it's a shame because we are living in a hyper feminist, hyper fucking feminized, hyper politically correct society.
Mm.
But we're lucky because you still have like some amount of freedom, a little bit, to at least like in your own mind, at least in your own behaviors, just voice your opinion of like this is dumb and I'm not and I don't fucking believe that.
Of course. But I mean, we should never ever, compromise democracy. Democratic values never.
Hmm.
Like, look at China; it's a
Yeah.
nightmare,
Yeah.
and we're throwing this away for what?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, I mean, just historically, it has been the masculine force that has been so dominant, right?
Yeah. Good.
Women have been so oppressed, so
Well, true. Yeah,
you
I
know, there
know.
is a counter reaction to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think if we can see this historical process of, left and right battles, sort of, I think we can maybe see that it's not, we don't want to have that battle.
Yeah.
Right? We don't
Yeah.
want to have that
No.
fluctuation.
No. Yeah, we
We
get it
want,
now. It's like we get it. We understand.
yeah,
It was dumb to think that we could just like force women to fucking work in a fucking factory all day, or like tell them they aren't allowed to get divorced if they want to, if their
yeah,
husband's beating them, or like tell them, crazy shit like that, or you can just lock them up in an insane asylum if you know if they don't want to sleep with you one night, or like,
yeah,
obviously we
yeah.
understand now. Oh, that was stupid. Oh, that was
Mm,
some dummy guys who were being dummies. We get it now.
yeah,
But it's like the vast majority of guys They are not trying to oppress women at all.
No.
At all. They're not even, they don't give a fuck. They're glad if a woman wants to get a fucking good job. They're glad. They're like, go ahead. It's awesome.
Yep.
They're not trying to oppress you. Like things have gone way too far in that direction, and it's dangerous. I just made a video about how feminism is bad for fucking women. It's bad for everyone. You need
Yeah.
strong, masculine men, and as many of them as you can possibly fucking get.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Tons, as much. There's a huge limit on that. We are living in a severe drought of strong masculine men. We don't have many, and we need more, and it's a good thing. No matter how much fucking the social justice warriors and the feminists try to hate it and put it down, it's a fucking good thing, and I'm in full support of it, and I'm not interested in what some fucking pink-haired feminist thinks. It's crazy talk.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, and it's also, I found it really valuable to sort of break down sort of my own masculinity, but now I sort of come back and it's sort of the same thing as ego death. You completely die essentially, and then you come back. But when you do this, you also realize which things are real and genuine and which things are socially constructed. So there clearly are some things like certain so-called masculine traits that are socially constructed, right? But that doesn't mean that all of them are. Right? That's crazy, though. So there clearly are really, really real things also, but you have to sort of separate them. I think the problem is that people don't really know how to do that. They think that certain things are real masculine things, but they are socially constructed. But then the feminists, they think that all the things are socially constructed, even if they are not.
Feminists are fucking nuts. They think that anything, they just think masculinity in general is a bad thing, and they're about trying to beat that down. If they sense masculine, they want to beat it down, and it's fucking nuts. And look, man, like there are the elements of like these kind of like macho, being a fucking macho like asshole. It's like that shit's dumb. Like no, like. You want to find good fucking male role models and mentors, and once you learn how they think, they're about producing value. They're about producing unconditional love, and then sharing that with the people around them. That's what they're doing. They're producing massive value and love and resources, and then they're sharing that massive fucking resources with people around them, and trying to help those people as much as they can to do better. And you know what else they do? They draw strong boundaries and exclude other people who they can't help or who aren't appreciating it. And they say, okay, fine. Then you go find someone else to help you. You create your own value. I'm helping these people. I've got it under control, guys. Don't worry about it. And our society doesn't like that or something.
Yeah. And I mean, if we go back to sort of machine elf land again, like, you could say that, okay, you can sort of go beyond gender and such completely into that world.
True, that's true.
But like, man, female, they also are these divine concepts and possibly the like most divine things like yin and yang. This is the man and woman. Like these are literally the fabric of the universe.
True.
And like you can't escape from that. And it's really great also that we live in an international world and that we are maybe more accepting of other cultures and so on, and they sort of blend together, but you also can't really escape from your ancestry completely.
And why would you want to? Like,
it is really important.
Absolutely. It's fucking super important, man. It's like, yeah, cool. We've got people living from all over different nations, all over different places. Like, that's cool, man. That's great. And we can all get along. Like, that's great. And I'm happy that people can do that. But that doesn't mean that I should be like somehow ashamed of my ancestors. I don't give a fuck. I want to find out about it. I don't care if my damn ancestors were about fucking expanding the empire and if they were damn talking about expanding the British Empire and fucking creating colonies and shit. Okay, fine. I want to find out about that. What were their understandings of things? What were the patterns that they used? Because I'm still echoing those patterns. I'm not saying I want to propagate all of them. Obviously, some of them were stupid, but I still want to learn about it, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm going to be awesome. In fact, I would even encourage bros from Sweden or Germany or wherever to be like, oh, cool. My ancestors were Vikings, and they were hopping off a longboat with a battle axe and fucking stabbing bros. Cool. That's awesome. So I should think like that in a way. I'm not going to be battle axing people, but of course I have that mentality.
Yeah, to sort of find the sort of essence there. And maybe leave out some things, take with you the best things.
Totally. You can still be like a spiritual,
unique and defined. Right?
You can be like a spiritual Viking. You're still going to have that mentality. I hear there's a lot of issues as well with the German dudes too, that they're all, because they don't know how to see their past. Oh, it's bad. And I don't know. And this and that. And it's like, hopefully someday those guys can get a hold of them and be like, yo, you know what? My dad was my grandfather was on the Eastern Front. He went to war. A lot of horrible shit happened, but you know what? He did the best he could, and I can understand that there was fucked up things taking place at that time, and find a way to like come to terms with it so that they don't have to live in constant shame and in constant fear, because that doesn't help anyone.
No. And I mean, with Germany, like, there's so many good things that have come from Germany as well, like technology and, culture, like literature, and like no way that we should be ashamed of that in any way, or like replace that with like some pop music or
Oktoberfest or something. No. And that's all they're allowed, by the way. That's all their German bros are allowed. You can have Oktoberfest and fucking, you know what I mean, a sausage and beer, and that's all. Nothing else. Yeah. Okay, and a BMW. That's all. You don't have anything else. Like, well, what about the 1,000 years when we were fucking? What about the millions of people who fought and died in wars all throughout the 20th century? Is there anything there? Any value there? No, that's bad. Okay, well, it was fucked up, yeah, but there's so much, and I think that's a lot of that stuff it's still in the soul of people there, right?
It is, and like you can't escape from this because it is a spiritual essence, right?
And we're connected to the earth, as we talked about. I know they talked about that. Was it Bismarck or one of them guys talked about blood and soil or whatever? And I know it's got co-opted by the Nazis and shit, but to a degree, there's a truth in like mankind. We were about fucking blood and soil and warfare and fucking like running shit, and we should acknowledge that and be grateful that we've advanced enough now that we can stop short of actually doing stupid shit like fucking wars and stuff. But we have to acknowledge that's still like a fundamental driver of our behavior. Of course it is.
But even with war, like, the Vikings and such, they had this sense of honor, like the duel, for example, and such. I think that is a very beautiful thing, even if it is violence, because
I agree.
The modern war is like you ambush someone from a bush, with some automatic weapon, or you sit in a room, and push a button, and like fire some missile. That's fucked up. Like I think if we wanna romanticize war, then we could look at that from the honor perspective, at least. That in the olden days we had this sense of honor,
For
and
sure.
justice.
For sure. And we a lot.
I don't want to fight in some war with
me
some
neither.
guns and stuff. Like if I kill someone or get killed by someone, I want to know who that is. Like I want to look that person in the eyes.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that he knows and I know what's going on.
And the Vikings, man, a lot of them guys, they were like, it gave them something to live for. It was like they were happy to die like an honorable death. It's like, what else were they gonna do, man? What else were they gonna do? It's like in our society, you should be happy to die fucking in some stupid old folks' home with on a bunch of drugs when you can barely even remember your name. Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? Put me into battle. Let me hop off a boat with a spear, and you know what? Some other gangster Viking's gonna spear me first. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
And let me die and go back into the afterlife. Let my kids carry it on. Let me swirl around in another dimension, and I'll come back. It's like It's just that's very brutal, and our little fucking politically correct society doesn't like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is this old Swedish tradition of the at the stupa. I don't know if you have seen the movie Midsummer.
Midsummer. I've been to Midsummer before. I've had the festival with the cross and the dancing around like a fucking wolf or whatever.
Yeah. But they made this horror movie.
Oh.
It's called Midsummer.
No.
It's really good. I can recommend it. It's very unique. But here they show this tradition of old people. When they reach a certain age, they just jump off a cliff.
Cool, man.
For this ritual, because they know that they are going to be a burden after this, and they don't want to do that. So
I can respect that. It's like you're taking it into your own hands. It's like somehow we think there's something wrong with that. It's like, no, man, this is my turn. Like I'm.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think when I die, I want to commit seppuku or something. Like
that'd be crazy.
Katana.
There was a dude. It was either Aldous Huxley or maybe it was John Lilly, that dude who was working with dolphins and shit. One of them guys, when he was on the deathbed, he had his wife administer him LSD when he was right about to die.
So that was Huxley. Yeah.
Was it Huxley? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote a really good book, The Doors of Perception.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Doors of
Perception. His mescaline experience.
Yeah, I looked into Doors of Perception. He's a legend. He was early on into the psychedelic realm. Yeah. No, man.
Of course, his book, Brave New World, is also very relevant.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. I looked at Doors of Perception a bit. Like I'll have to check into him a bit more. But like, there's so many great people who have come up with great stuff, and like, that's why again, like, right now in this day and age, like we have access to a lot of this stuff, and I'm all like in on trying to encourage anyone who's interested to get involved, because this is the way it works. This is we're talking about as we're engaging in this way. It's like, this is the human experience, and especially for a young man, like there is no other choice. Like no amount of that politically correct fucking being a weakling shit is gonna work. It's not good for you. It's not good for the fucking girls. It's not good for anyone. And no matter how many times your university professor fucking tells you that being a man is bad and you should get pink hair and fucking, it's not going to work. And so I just am adamantly opposed to that. So that's my opinion, and I'm just kind of putting it out there into the universe.
Yeah. And I think for me, I want to get people engaged in the sort of spiritual perspective as well. And
that's
I think ayahuasca does this really well.
Yeah, man.
And I think when people have that experience, they see that much of what happens here is sort of trivial in comparison. Like it's very silly. We're all engaged in these illusions and arguing about stuff that doesn't matter,
Definitely the arguments. Like we for sure have to stop with the arguments, stop with the gossip, stop with the little games, stop with the little fucking games. That shit's crazy. Stop with the little fucking, don't offend that person. It's just like, just it's enough. Do the right
yeah,
thing. So yeah, man.
yeah, and just like be real and
Yeah.
genuine. I think, you know, and that's what people really want in the end.
That's all they're going to respond to, man. The only thing
Yeah,
people are going to respond to is authenticity and being genuine, because that's the only thing that matters. Other people, wait till you meet really rich people. Guys who are cool, who made a lot of money, yeah, they
mm,
don't want to be around fake fucking people.
no,
They don't want that. Oh, hey man, hey, I can make you a lot of money. Yeah, but I have money. Well,
yeah,
if you were just cool with me, then we could engage like people. And that's the secret. It's like cool people want to meet and hang out with other cool people. And so, what should you be doing? Become cool, become authentic, become real, become a
yeah,
genuine person who understands themselves, understands how things really work. Then you can be valuable to other cool people, and we can all work together. All the cool people
yeah,
can get together, we can work together, and we can actually solve things. Because as we know,
yeah.
some fucking chode politicians aren't doing it properly.
It's the coolness, Aeon.
Ah! That's sick, bro. All right, man,
Yeah,
bro. Let's try to wrap it up here. But that was a good ending, man. That was well done. Dude, this was awesome, man. I think we covered a lot of good ground, bro.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, I think we sort of have to find and get people together that sort of
Yeah,
are in the same zone and sort of understand this. And
100%.
I think for me also doing this on a more physical plane, like maybe a
Yeah,
sort of off-grid
that'd be cool.
farming community, you know, that's self-sustaining. Such,
That's dope, man.
I think that's something I'm interested in.
That's cool. I've been looking at a lot of YouTube vids of like people living in camper vans and like building tiny houses and shit like that. So I'm kind of
Yeah,
getting open to that stuff too. Okay,
yeah.
man. Like what can we? Are you got anything kind of on the go, or you're more focused on school and stuff like that, or do you do any paint? Because you told me you're doing a bit of painting and stuff, or
Yeah, well, I have a lot of school right now,
yeah,
so
cool, man.
not so much time for else. And I'm still making my shamanic garb as well. That's a
That's
big
sick.
project. Yeah.
Okay, man, cool. Well, this has been dope, man. Why don't we? Do you want to maybe link up another time? Like maybe after my do you want to link up after my ayahuasca experience, maybe, and we can talk about that or something?
Yeah, yeah, sure, we could do that. I would be very interested to hear about it because I know a lot about it as well.
That's
And I
awesome,
think
man.
it opens up to a lot of new stuff.
That'd be sick, man. Okay, bro. So why don't we maybe try to link up next month, and we'll sort of do another vid, and we can share. I'll share with you my experience, and maybe you can give some your reflection on that or something.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Cool, brother.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, man. Well, I'll let you go. All right.
Yeah,
Okay, my man. Have a good day. It's been a pleasure. All right.
yeah, you too. Thanks for having me. And yeah, thanks to everyone who listens to this. This is really important, you know, just
For sure, man.
reflect on these
Yeah,
things. And,
for sure. And do you have anything you want to send people to, Instagram or anything that you use, or are you active on social media?
no,
Not
I
really.
really don't
Okay.
don't use
Don't worry
social
about
media.
it.
I
The
have a Facebook,
Yeah,
but
yeah. People can wait till next month for the next vid. How about that?
yes,
And
yes,
leave comments or anything, guys. If you have any comments for us, or if you have any questions for Klaus, whatever, leave them in the comments, and we'll try to maybe get to them for next time, because it's always cool to have topics to talk about or whatever. Cool. Okay, man. Take care, my man.
yes. Same to you.
Okay, brother.
Bye bye.
See ya.